I'm JoAnnRovig, and I'd like to tell you my JoviPak story. My story began in 1989 when I learned I had breast cancer that had spread to my lymph nodes. I was just finishing massage school, and I knew enough about the lymphatic system to know I was facing a complete axillary dissection with follow-up radiation, both of which would put me at high risk for lymphedema. I was very frightened. There was only a handful of therapists in the United States at that time, and no one in my area that I could consult with. So I did the obvious, and I headed to the Vater School in Austria to begin my training as the first lymphedema therapist in the Northwest. Once I had my certification, I opened a lymphedema clinic in Ballard, a suburb of Seattle. I also started a very enthusiastic support group and co-founded a 501c3 nonprofit patient education center with one of my patients. As I began treating patients, many of whom had been without treatment or even a diagnosis for over 20 years, two things became very clear to me. Every lymphedema patient must understand the lymphatic system and know how to manage their condition once the in-clinic treatment has ended. In preparation for my new task as a patient educator, I went to Australia to learn a lymph drainage technique that a patient could easily do on themselves. As I treated each patient in my clinic or conducted a self-care class, I explained every aspect of the technique and made sure patients and their caregivers understood and would be able to continue on with the self-care regimen as long as they found it necessary. This was followed up with a step-by-step self-care video they could refer to at home. The other thing that was painfully apparent was that the self-bandaging aspect of lymphedema management was extremely difficult for my patients, particularly for those who needed containment at night. In fact, on the day of discharge, when I handed my patients their bandages, that's when I saw their tears. After 28 days of intensive treatment, the thought of going home and self-bandaging was more than they could cope with. I was determined to find a better answer. While I was in Australia, learning the self-care techniques from the Casley Smiths, I learned of Bernd Schneider's discovery that chipped foam under compression would soften fibrotic tissue. As soon as I got back to my clinic, I began making full-length, made-to-measure arm sleeves filled with a blend of highly resilient foam chips. My goal was not only to soften fibrosis, but to also make self-bandaging easier for my patients, with the ultimate goal of eliminating the self-bandaging aspect of lymphedema management altogether. I wanted to send my patients home with a comfortable garment that would contain their swelling throughout the night. I called these garments JoviPaks, a contraction of my name. Quite often, the knowledge gained by helping specific patients became the inspiration for a new product. This, combined with requests from other therapists, explains why JoviPak's collection of lymphedema products has grown from the classic arm sleeve made in 1996 to over 156 garments with applications for nearly every part of the human anatomy. We were the first manufacturer of nighttime lymphedema garments and have set the standard in quality and design. All of our products are made in the USA, in Kent, Washington. The employees of JoviPak include designers, pattern makers, tailors, seamstresses, customer service and sales rep, and lymphedema therapists. Every person at JoviPak is part of the most dedicated and caring group of women I've ever had the privilege of working with. So for me, cancer was a blessing. I have learned so much and have had countless opportunities to utilize this knowledge, including my own cancer experience, to restore hope for other cancer survivors and patients struggling with lymphedema. And throughout this incredible journey, I've had the satisfaction of knowing I have created a product that is making life a lot easier for lymphedema patients throughout the world. Thank you for listening, thank you for caring, and thank you for being interested in lymphedema.